Our negotiators are making another push to finally secure a binding global treaty to tackle plastic pollution, as 10 days of trade talks get underway at the United Nations in Geneva. The UN has called plastic pollution a serious global threat with long-term consequences for the environment, health and economies. It wants plastic waste could triple by 2060 in the absence of any global accord. Countries agreeing since 2022 on the need for a legally binding treaty, although 5 rounds of talks have so far failed to deliver. For more, Ross Cullen joins us live from Paris. Ross, for any proposal on these negotiations to make it into a treaty, all countries will have to agree on these proposals. In these 10 days of talks, what are we likely to see happening?
Well, this is the second part of the 5th session of this attempt to secure the legally binding international framework for a deal to reduce plastic pollution. Wei Su, we've seen talks since 2022 in Uruguay, Kenya, Canada, already here in France as well previously. South Korea trying to see if they can get as many countries as possible on board to try to secure this agreement. We've had ministerial meetings and we're going to see now 9 days of plenary talks, multilateral discussions, conversations with observers, as well as all of the different parties and countries get a chance to talk to each other to try to see if there is a way forward for countries that can come on board with each other when it comes to writing up the framework that will back up this binding treaty. Now, there are 3,700 participants, 184 countries in attendance in Geneva at the United Nations, more than 600 observer organisations as well, all of them having those discussions now over the next nine days to see if they can secure a binding plastics treaty.
All right, Ross, this is the 6th round of talk. The last round in Busan stumbled. They failed to reach a deal. This was last year. What's changed between then and now to make at least some negotiators upbeat that they will get a globally binding treaty this time around?
Yes, they wanted to conclude it in 2024 in South Korea in the city of Busan with the 5th and final session. They renamed that the 5th final session version 1. This is now the second part of that final session. They believe that there will now be more countries coming on board, potentially to be able to get this over the line, to have a treaty to reduce plastic waste. We've heard from the director of the Swiss Federal Office for the Environment, Catherine Schneeberger. These talks being held in Switzerland. She has said that today we stand at a critical crossroads. Plastic waste is choking our lakes, harming wildlife and threatening human health. We have an opportunity to make a difference. Also hearing from Inga Anderson. She's the executive director of the United Nations Environment Programme. So overall, overseeing these treaty negotiations, she has said that plastic pollution is in our nature, our oceans and our bodies. If we continue on this trajectory, the whole world will be drowning in plastic pollution with massive consequences. The challenge for those in favour of a legally binding international treaty is getting countries like Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, Iran and the United States on board. They are all fossil fuel producers or plastic producers. The aim will be to try to ensure that this treaty can be one weighted in favour of reducing plastic production and not one weighted in favour of increasing plastic recycling, which is what countries like Russia and China would prefer.
All right, this treaty is addressing every stage of plastic pollution, so that's production, design and recycling. Thanks for that, Ross Cullen, live there from Paris.